Good morning and happy Tuesday to you. My name, Jay Cleveland Payne. This thing here called Things You Might Not Have Heard, and these are some things you might not have picked up on your news coverage for the last 30 hours or so. What we're going to give you are 8 stories that we pulled from our aggregation. Every 50 minutes, we posted a news story, a headline, and a link to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter, and the people who follow those along, plus the magic of the algorithms, a little Elon tweaking around and some of the bots moving things around, gives us a bunch of stories, a grouping of stories that basically tell us which stories are more engaging. We get about 30 to 33 stories in a day. We are giving you the pick from the top 15 stories, and that's what we have for you here to take along for you for your water cooler talk, for your coffee talk, for your bus chat, whatever's going on. We call ourselves your news side piece and your tertiary news source just for that reason. We're not the main source. These are a few stories from a few places that you may not have heard of, some places you may hear of but you try to avoid. That gives you some outside news perspective issue for going on there. Find out more about what goes on at the main website at that's the other website. The main website for this one is thisisaconversationproject.com. Let's move on and get going with the headlines for today. Starting with the first headline. Secret Service is January text messages story has shifted several times. Panel told. Sorry for the bad reading. I'm doing some little things with the screens here so I can hopefully see better. Obviously not quite the case. But here's the deal with what's going on. The story about the Secret Service and their text messages that they were supposed to turn over from the 5th and the 6th, it keeps shifting. It went from they're gone. It went from there was a system update that just sort of happened and it happened. That went from, oh, we were going to change out equipment anyway, so everybody got new cell phones and there was no backup. So there's a lot of going back and forth on the actual story. Today, I believe, is the actual day, the deadline for turning in those text messages to the January 6th committee. We'll see what they find, what's going on. One would think the Secret Service is not one to basically hide things, especially in some of the ways that they were, explained to be treated in the media during the Donald Trump era of the presidency. However, one would think the Secret Service is one of the things that want to try to hide things because they are not so much secretive, but what they do is not exactly known to the general public. The Secret Service is not just running around taking care of the president. The Secret Service has a lot of other duties as a branch of law enforcement. They basically take care of the Treasury. They watch over other folks as well. But they do a lot of work deep down into the system. That's what they do. The Secret Service is kind of secret in it will. But the fact that they don't want a lot of people knowing what's going on does make sense. Although this is a subpoena, if you will, to give notions of what's going on at this January 6th thing, specifically with what went down when the rumored Donald Trump insurrection of his own, trying to take over the car and drive himself to the Capitol during the insurrection. Jackson, Holliday, Druw Jones make history at 2022 MLB Draft. Now, what happened with these two guys? These two very good players, Holliday going first and Jones going second. That's no big deal. Good players go great. Now, here's what happened. The players picked up by the Baltimore Orioles, which was where Holliday went. He has a shortstop. And Arizona Diamondbacks picked up outfielder Druw Jones. What's interesting about these guys is they are the first time 1 and 2 draft players went to legacy players. The first time they went to players who were big all-stars, big-time players, not just, meat and eggers or guys that got a cup of coffee on the league. Matt Holliday, the father of Jackson, and Druw Jones, father of Druw Jones, is what made that happen. Of course, you may remember them from their big-time careers. And not that long ago, these were the big-time guys back when I was basically Drew and Jackson's days. But this is the first time that the first 2 players in the MLB Draft, that is Major League Baseball Draft, have been legacy players going forward. Sentencing trial kicks off for Parkland shooter Nikolas Cruz. It seems like a mighty long time. It's been about a year, more or less to the date, I believe, where we're getting to a trial, a sentencing trial for Parkland shooter Nikolas Cruz. He just had his trial, actually, the court case a few months ago, and now they're going to have a sentencing which begins now, today, essentially. We're going to find out what the actual consequences of Nikolas Cruz. Nikolas Cruz, of course, famous infamous for the Parkland shooting in Florida, Parkland High School in Florida, which not only launched a national outcry again on school shooting, but launched a new bevy of activists, both adults and children, in the world of just gun control, number one, and just general life itself. These kids who were once called crisis actors and all sort of other things to kind of put them down are now basically doing what they can to make policy and influence people in the world with big time influence. This would not have happened without this little incident that happened that changed a lot of lives. Unfortunately, the lives that were changed meant a lot of lives were lost in what was a essentially senseless act. We'll find out what this senseless act will give for Nikolas Cruz in a few days. Ric Flair teaming up with Andrade to fight Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal in last match. Andrade El Elodo is his current name right now, and is oddly enough, ironically, coincidentally, the husband of Ric Flair's daughter, Charlotte Flair, currently not wrestling at the moment as well. But big time Ric Flair is finally going to retire from in-ring competition. Now, he hasn't been in the ring for quite some time because he's 73 years old, so he's not in contention for basically anything. But he's going to fight. They finally announced who's fighting. He's going to fight in a tag team match, which may give him a chance to actually win this thing. With Jeff Jarrett, a person he has plenty of time fighting against over the years, and Jay Lethal, a person that he has plenty of time battling with. Plus, it's the irony of Jay Lethal and Ric Flair have been longtime friends. Ric Flair is a mentor to Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal essentially plays a character who is Ric Flair, and they've been training together. They've had YouTube videos and videos out there of them training. Ric Flair, 73 years old, doing the woo thing, bouncing up and down, doing whatever. This will be the last match. This is a pay-per-view happening on the 31st of this month. I know no one who's paying for this because I know no one who wants to see this thing happen. However, it's happening. So, be prepared for it. We'll have news of the final outcome of this match on the 31st of July with the tag team match with Ric Flair teaming up with his son-in-law, Andrade. And this is El Odo. No, I think it's not El Odo. Let me look at the actual cover. This does not have the actual thing. But Andrade is his son-in-law to fight Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal in this final match coming up. Pastor John Gray moved to Atlanta Hospital as condition improves. Pastor John Gray, a mega church pastor in South Carolina, has been moved to the hospital in Atlanta as he's dealing with a serious, severe pulmonary embolism. He is in the recovery stuff. We got this note update on the 11th, so this is kind of old news, I have to say, on this one. But this is something that has popped up as there as well. Pastor John Gray is the pastor of Relentless Church in Greenville, South Carolina. He's senior pastor there, and of course, he's known more nationally, if not for being a pastor, for the Oprah show, having a show on O. That's basically, a reality series for Pastor John Gray. It is, I don't know, I don't watch all that kind of stuff. Sorry to be disparaging in the reality show game, but that's where he's known from the national stage. But he is being moved to a hospital in Atlanta as he is recovering from a serious, severe pulmonary embolism right now. Erdogan says Turkey will freeze Finland Swedens NATO bid if promises are not kept. What promises are those? Basically, are they given? I'm not exactly sure. But when Erdogan and Turkey said, sure, Finland and Sweden can get into NATO, it will let them fast track. It was all, of course, quid pro quo. Something was supposed to be given to Turkey. And Turkey is making sure that the world knows that they're not getting in for free, being Finland and Sweden. So Erdogan and the people of Turkey are keeping an eye on what NATO and the European nation and the United States are going to offer up in return for allowing Sweden and Finland's entry into NATO and doing it quickly for their safety. We will see if this becomes an issue as well. We know international politics is pretty darn dirty. You think domestic politics are bad. Watch from the internationals. We really have issues of people who are different fighting against each other. I think everything's going to be fine. I'm pretty sure Turkey's going to get what they want, plus more because of the seriousness of nature. But President Erdogan of Turkey just making sure he's rattling his sables, making sure that that he's got control of the button. He's like the Joe Manchin of NATO right now. He can boycott all sorts of stuff, make all sorts of things not happen correctly. News anchor tells meteorologists to be happy about UK heat wave. So, there's a heat wave going on in Europe, and it's weird that now, not that they don't have heat waves before. This is one of the highest temperatures ever been seen in years, and of course, the majority of people in Europe do not actually own air conditioning units in their homes. It just is not known, especially in the way the houses and the temperature usually is. So, in a back and forth that went on a national news anchor coverage, the anchors in the studio asked the guy out in the field, "Oh, how's it going today?" And he says, "Oh, it's pretty balmy. It's okay. It's about 20 Celsius, which is about 60, 65 Fahrenheit. But to be serious, in a few days it's going to be more like 40 Celsius, which is like 114. And people be careful and people beware because people will basically die and have bad feelings." And the anchor back at the studio is like, "Well, we want everyone to be happy about the weather." And so people are basically backlashing with the witty banter that did not turn out so witty in its banter. This is something that, as a news anchor myself, an actual news anchor back when I did actual news on actual stations, it's something that you deal with on many bases, where you say the wrong quip, or try to say something funny, try to say something that's interesting, and the joke just doesn't land. And this is a case where the news anchor doesn't hate people and want them all to die in the heat. It was a joke that did not land very well. Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz blames Dem-run cities for store closures. Now, this is a complicated issue that's bigger than the headline. And headline, not very good. I didn't have time to really change it in the moment when we posted this, but the headline, not very good. Now, we know that Starbucks is closing about 16 stores in 16 major areas, major metropolitan areas, because of safety concerns. And they're not supposedly also not very profitable based on the safety concerns that are there. Howard Schultz was basically caught on leaked tape, some clips somewhere, where he basically was just poo-pooing cities that are run by Democrats, essentially the same cities the Republicans bitch about being welfare cities and being refugee cities, things like that. So because of the crime that's there. The crime that's there is, it is what it is. But they're saying that they're unprofitable, they're in bad parts of town. The crime that existing is not working out well for those stores itself. And so in those cases, we're seeing that the Starbucks are closing. I'm sorry, there's literally a bug buzzing around me, and it's totally throwing me off right now. So sorry for that. So what's happening is Howard Schultz caught on tape essentially saying that the Democrat-run cities, the sanctuary-type cities, if you will, because they allow people to kind of show up, and they are basically ridden with crime and ridden with all sorts of stuff, is causing the issue for these particular stores in some of the worst parts of towns because of the crime, that they have to shut them down because the people don't feel safe and they can't make money in a place where people, i.e. the actual customers, won't come and the people working there aren't making any money. Now remember, Starbucks famously about 2 years ago opened up their open bathrooms policy because there was an issue with people hanging out in Starbucks and being pushed out, and people coming in using the bathroom because not buying coffee because Starbucks is seen as snooty like that. So Starbucks, in their case of bringing in more diversity, bringing in more inclusion, being more kind to people, now of course getting caught being not as kind to people because they're saying this crime in the areas, crimes in the neighborhood is causing the issues. Our teaser story for today is this one right here, and it is one that we're going to we can possibly talk about if you believe this is one that is big enough to get into come tomorrow. We're right now, to be honest, we're at a low point of stories to put in there, so we got to find a lot of stuff going through. It was kind of a biggish day yesterday early, and then it bottomed out. So if you want to talk about a DC venue canceling an appearance by a conservative comic who called AOC at the Capitol, we can do that tomorrow. Now, this is more or less a string of things that are happening where the libs are owning the conservatives in this case, where there are many places, many venues where bands, where people are speaking, are basically not showing up or canceling the conservative guy for conservatives doing things. We had a story we posted a few days ago about Japanese Breakfast, the indie band, deciding not to play a festival because of a Republican operative, I think it was Michael Flynn, actually had a convention at the same place, so they decided not to play at that next upcoming festival at that place. Here's a case where a DC area is going to cancel a conservative for literally catcalling AOC, just being jerks in a situation. Is this a story you want to talk about? We can chat it up if you like to, coming up real soon by you just engaging the story and letting us know if it's grand enough. Now let's engage with our televisions, or our televisions on our computers, if you will. This is the conversationproject.com/YouTube TV is your new home for television. It is my current home and the best home around, as we cut the cord about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and jumped on the bandwagon for YouTube TV initially. Now, it's going to give you 85 plus channels. The plus basis is based on your local channels. You get your local channels, like your actual local channels, in your YouTube TV feed for you there as well. You also get various other channels, including, in some cases we don't get the local channels, but we do get things like the video on demand for things like the CW, which is local here, but we don't get that over the air in the over-the-air part of YouTube TV. You also get access to HBO and Showtime and the premium channels, and you also get a chance to hook in for plenty of sports packages and news packages as well. You get $30 off your first month by using our link here. Go to thisistheconversationproject.com/YouTube TV and get in on the revolution. It will be live streamed, of course. This is theconversationproject.com/YouTube TV. You get 6 profiles with unlimited DVR for everybody in your house, and they can take it with them wherever they are. Check it out today. You will not be disappointed. It is time to go ahead and cut that cord and get into the world of YouTube TV. Let's get into the world of websites of note to talk about for us. Starting off with our main website, which is thisistheconversationproject.com. You stop by there, say hello, see what's going on, and see what we're doing all over the place. Stop by and find out information about our partnership opportunities, our sponsorship opportunities, and just the stuff we do here to make things more conversational. Sign up for the email newsletter just in case you missed this thing going live, so you get the video in the future, and do other great things as well. Our feeds are on Facebook and Twitter. Go to facebook.com/thisistheconversationproject or twitter.com/th_conversation, and you can follow the feeds. And as the feeds come, every 50 minutes we post a news story, just like we post the story about the AOC thing here on the interwebs in our feeds. Engage with it, and you get a chance to vote it up to be talked about tomorrow. Like it, love it, hate it, share it. Do what you can do to engage with the story. The higher the story engagement, the higher chance it gets in there. We pick from the top 15 stories of a day, about 35 stories within a 30-hour swath of time to pick from there, and we give you 5 to 8, 5 to 9. Today we'll give you 8 stories in the rundown. We're on the TikTok at The Conversation Project, and we're on YouTube at thisistheconversationproject.com/YouTube. We're going to change that name fairly soon once we get some time to kind of chillax and work on that. But you can follow us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and you hit notifications so you get this 5 days a week. And of course, you get the notification at 5:50 in the morning when we go live with the whole shebang. Today, things to talk about include birthdays for today for Anthony Edwards, turning 60 years old today, of course, known from ER, but we all love him, and he's kind of in the news now as Goose, Mother Goose from Top Gun. Now, I'm not seeing the new movie yet, but Goose does not make an appearance, but it's also a big dealing with Maverick fighting with Goose's son in legacy stuff, hating, because you got to do that in these movies. Bender, what's up with that? Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't know where that came from. 46 years old on the day, the star of the Marvel movies, Doctor Strange, also a former Sherlock, if you will. All sorts of things. Very good actor, turning 46 on the day. And Jarrett Padalecki, which I can never say, star from the show Supernatural, turning 40 years old today. Today is Daiquiri Day, and if you had a day like I did yesterday, you probably celebrated yesterday, Daiquiri Day. So if you did not, go ahead and pour yourself a cold one for today, because it's official. It's all yours. And finally, one last thing to go out on the way with. Eating more fruits and vegetables has always been smart, and research shows just how smart it is. 2 animal studies found their antioxidants in fruits and vegetables can improve learning and memory, and they minimize the effect of aging on the brain. Antioxidants can undo cell damage caused by renegade free radicals, molecules, and previous studies have shown they can prevent disease and improve mental functioning, among other things. The USDA ranks foods by the antioxidant content. In the study, spinach and apples are particularly beneficial for learning and memory. Sorry for the slow, poor reading. It's really, really small type, and I didn't think about that when I put this story up there. But think about that. Antioxidants, you've probably heard that before. So if you didn't know, now you really know. Antioxidants are very good for your brain, very good for your health. Apples and spinach, go for it. Not a big fan of spinach, but apples all day long. This has been Things You Might Have Heard for Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. My name is still Jay Cleveland Payne, and we are going to wrap this thing up right here, reminding you to stay hydrated, stay limber, and stay on task for all the great, grand, super things that you are here to do on this planet. Make sure you follow us on our feeds and you see what stories are down. Make sure you stop by the main website and you see how you can help us improve this thing. And if you have just suggestions, chat stuff, leave a note in the chat and we will talk it up as soon as we can, and we'll do our best to fix it or unfix it, if the case may be. In the meantime, have a great Tuesday. Have a better Tuesday than I did Monday. Trust me, not a great Monday going on. And we'll do this again on Wednesday morning.